Hi, everybody. Come on in. Welcome. I'm so happy to be here. I've got some time off for my W-2, so I thought it would be nice to have some coffee and talk about release what's heavy. When I actually came out with this the first week in December, because on the channel here, if you're new, we do themes each month, and I want to thank everyone for being my accountability partner, and just making the journey fun to do together. But when I released what's heavy, I actually got quite a few responses, and it let me know that I wasn't alone, and I wanted to let you know that you're not alone. And I want to share with you how this concept came alive. So, if I may, please, and thank you for listening to my story. Um, I was kind of feeling really just defeated right before, I want to say, Thanksgiving. Just my load was heavy, in my personal, in my work environment, just there was some toxic things happening, and it just is taking a lot of energy and prep for me to kind of wake up and handle the day. And I was feeling just really in a place that I'm not really comfortable with, but it does show up, right? We're all human. We all have highs and lows. And I had a visitor. I had my dad come and see me. And it was the greatest conversation. And he kind of kicked me in my butt. And, we always had that kind of banter back and forth. Like, he always welcomed different opinions, thoughts, and even, we would, handle conflict resolution together. We would, he would really just sometimes just knew how to push my buttons to challenge me, because he always wanted to prepare me and prepare how I was going to respond, because that's really the only thing that you can control is how you respond to something. And one of the things he said, kiddo, and I was like, okay, dad. He's like, I know you every year do a vision board, you do your intentions. And he just asked me to really look before I put anything more on my plate. Is there anything that I could put down? Is there anything that I could just let 2025 have so that I'm lighter in 2026? He goes, I'm pretty sure you've been on the planet 59 years, and there's a lot of stuff that you can put down. The shoulda, woulda, coulda done better. Things that I did when I was in survival mode. My past. We all have stories. We all have levels of life that, maybe we weren't the greatest version of ourselves, that, we carry a lot of that with us. But even the accomplishments we have, the energy that's put into that, are we able to say, okay, that was a great job. It's a done deal. Let's set it down. And after that conversation with him, I was like on cloud nine. I was like, that's what I needed to hear. No one's ever talked to me about, before you set new stuff on your plate, you may want to scoot stuff off that you have. Now, I do that all day long, prioritizing, doing project managing, things like that. But to put it in that kind of context for me just changed my whole view. And that's why I wanted to come on and talk about this, because no matter who I'm talking to in my personal life, in my professional life, on the channel, in the Discord, just releasing what is heavy. I have gotten so much response back because there's so many different angles that people have. And I don't think we're ever allowed to feel that we can put something down, because we're not talking about that we're weak. We're not talking about we're broken. We're not trying to fix anything in the next couple of days here. We're just like, what can I set down? And for me personally, I have this container. It's a visual for me where I've just kind of taken everything off, because I'm a visual person, So I did a meditation where I was just unpacking these things and putting them in that container, and they're over there. They're waiting for me, just so that I felt safe to do that. Isn't that interesting? Like, so that I didn't feel like I was just letting go and not being able to have control, or I guess just the not knowing what that's going to feel like. And one of the I'm working on number 4, and I one of the things that I'm going to leave behind is when I'm with someone, whether it's a family member or at work, I'm going to give you my attention. And in other words, I'm not going to be on my phone while I'm, oh yeah, okay, oh great, yeah, I hear you. That sounds so good. I'm not listening, right? I'm not giving you grace. And it's really disheartening that the level of disconnect sometimes and I've noticed, in my line of work, I'm on the phone a lot. I do a lot of research. I'm on the computer most of the days, but just creating boundaries with my phone and when I'm with someone, giving their attention, and also realizing that, you know also giving myself space, that before I sit down to lunch or before I get into a conversation with my family member where they really want to share something with me and I know I have something pressing, just letting them know up front, hey, I may have to check my phone in about 5 or 10, 15 minutes. Are you okay with that? And if not, let me know and I'll just text them and say, hey, look, I need to check out. So just creating new boundaries. And we've talked about this before on the channel about boundaries. But now it's about releasing what's heavy to let something new in. And what I'm talking about is that I'm going to release the need to constantly be attached to my phone. And I'm pretty sure my family will love it because it took me back to probably about 2000 and I want to say 17. And I was in my W-2, I was supporting, it was a very demanding job, like we all have. And I remember us going to dinner. And this is why this came up when my dad was talking about it, because we went to dinner at, and my family goes, are you taking that phone in there? And I was like, yeah. And they're all, well, we don't want to go to dinner. You either leave your phone in the car or we don't want to go to dinner because you're just going to be on it the whole time. And so it just kind of took me back to reflect back to, okay, I'm going to unpack that. I'm going to unpack that behavior that I've been carrying around for a long time. So that's one. And there's the other 3, they're very personal. They have to do with family members. And, sometimes it's okay to even let people go if they're very harmful, right? And not supporting you to become the greatest version of yourself. So I want to start off today by letting you know that if this message hit you at the right time, that you're not alone. Like I mentioned before, when I first shared this response, it surprised me how many people reached out. Because I think there's a lot of people feeling just a lot of different things that make them feel heavy. We never talk about cleansing out the old to let the new come in. And when we hear the phrase, let it go, it can feel dismissive, right? Like we're being told to just forget about it. Like and it's just denial. It's just our way of not dealing with things. And when you think about the weight you're carrying, it might be heavy expectations that you put on yourself. Like we're responsible for it. Doesn't mean others are. It might be like old roles you've outgrown. It might be guilt that isn't teaching you anything anymore. It's that emotional weight you keep revisiting out of habit. I want to say that again. It's that emotional weight you keep revisiting out of habit. It's the pressure to be on all the time. And that is a big one. That's a big one for me. And I'm sure for a lot of you too. I want you to hear this clearly. Releasing things isn't negative. It's not negative. Even your accomplishments from this year, if the pressure to maintain them is crushing you, you are allowed to sit that down too. I give you permission to. And, as we're closing the year, reflecting, comparing, and remembering, we unconsciously, we pack all of that into our central nervous system, I believe. And it is vital for us to realize that we aren't meant to be storage units. We are not meant to be storage units for the past 12 months, right? Can you imagine how heavy? I mean, we almost feel if we never do a cleanse and just set stuff down. This is why this was like, hello. I felt like, hello, McFly. You're going to see my energy here, folks, because this really resonated with me. And it is vital for us to realize that we aren't meant to be storage units. That we're just not meant to carry around stuff. I just have this visualization of me carrying around those compartments that I see at my work, and just wondering why I'm so tired, why I'm so fatigued, why don't I have energy? Gosh, I went to sleep early enough last night. I'm drinking. Gosh, I'm exercising. I'm eating right and taking vitamins. I'm doing all this crazy stuff, but I'm not taking the time to really focus on internally and externally what I need to say, okay, I'm done, and let it go. So here is our action step for these final 2 days. If you'd like to join me, which I hope you do, because I'd love to hear all about it. And I want you to take a piece of paper, because I'm a firm believer in thought to form is how you manifest immediately. Thought to form. Remember that. You want to manifest something really quick? Take it from your thought and put it on paper. Bingo. Here it comes. And I want you to take out a piece of paper, and I want you to write down 3 things you're done carrying into the new year. Okay, and these are not things you're angry about, and these are not things you want to punish yourself for. Okay, these are just honest truths. Okay, so maybe it's, I'm done carrying these unrealistic expectations. Okay. I'm done carrying other people's emotions. Now, that one's heavy for me, and I'm gonna have to have that's gonna be on my visual board, that one, so that I remind myself every day that I am not a sponge for people to dump their emotions on, and then I absorb it because I'm an empath. Or maybe I'm done carrying guilt for the choices I made when I was just trying to survive. And this is really big for me too, like in my past. I didn't realize how much guilt I was carrying with certain family members. And you don't have to burn the paper. You don't have to tell anyone and announce it like da 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 da, right? Just acknowledge it. Just you yourself acknowledge this place of grace for yourself. And look at these things and say, thank you for getting me here, but I am leaving you at the door. If this feels emotional for you, that's a sign you're doing it right, because I did get very emotional. I had tears. Like just the fact that, when I start kind of really looking back in my life, if I've never really put stuff down, it's kind of like going through a storage shed and wondering what you want to keep and what you don't, but you haven't been in there for years, but you keep paying the rent on it. That's draining. So just normalize the fact that it's okay to travel light. Okay, it's okay to be lighter. Everything doesn't have to be heavy. It doesn't make you stronger, wiser, nothing. In fact, it's going to open up capacity and avenues in yourself to actually gain strength. Remember that you are not behind because you're letting go. You're actually getting ahead. As we move into these final hours together, I want you to remember this. You can't rise while holding what was meant to be released. Not because you're weak, but because you, your hands, your heart, your mind, your body, your soul was meant for something else, something new. That's exciting. I love it. So, if this episode resonated with you, I want you to sit with it today, and I really want you to give a intention to the things that you'd like to release, even if it's just one. So, it's hard. Like, I've been working on it all month, so I'm on number 4. So, and if I get another one, that's great. But at least I'm putting something down, and that's the intention here, right? And so, Happy New Year. I wish you nothing but a lighter you, a more beautiful self. And just remember, you cannot rise while holding on to what was meant to be released. Okay? Much love and light. Peace.